Hey everyone, welcome to the Four Words or Less podcast, a brand new podcast with Southern roots, personalities about as smooth as sandpaper, and the occasional guest and interesting topics. If you enjoy this podcast, let us know with a thumbs up and a comment down below. If you have any suggestions on what topics you'd like to hear about, leave us a suggestion in the comments section. We'd love to hear your feedback. Right now, we're planning to release these podcasts on a weekly basis and should be live on our YouTube channel, Four Words or Less, on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Four Words or Less podcast. My name's Sam. This would be where you introduce yourself.
And I'm Justin. Like I said, it's fine. We can cut it all.
If you look at the logo, Justin's the red face, and I am the blue one. I don't wear glasses, and he does not have a majestic beard such as mine. So Justin here put a lot of faith in me today and trusted me in picking the topic. And this is a surprise to him. So what we're going to be talking about today, drum roll please, is kind of what it means to be a man in today's world and in America, and kind of how to be a man and topics related to that. You down for that?
Alrighty.
All right. So here's my first question. What do you think it means to be a man in the world and in America?
Well, you're asking my personal beliefs or what it means according to the modern context?
Well, I mean, what do you think it means? You know, we're not going to pull up a Webster dictionary.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, right? Because the conventional definition of masculinity has changed a lot over time, but in my opinion, it still means a lot of the same things that it used to generations ago.
Yeah, I would say the same. I think it kind of has evolved with the concept of chivalry within the last 100 years, for sure.
Yeah.
And kind of especially, and even that concept is rapidly changing, you know, even in our lifetime, even in the last 10 to 15 years, you know.
Well, the third wave feminists have been doing their best to kill off modern chivalry, so, yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's kind of gotten a lot to do with, you know, the Me Too movement and, you know, simp culture and stuff like that. We've talked about this kind of thing before. A lot of it plays into, you know, how men are viewed. Not only that, and how we wish men to be viewed in the future. And I think that's kind of up to people like you and I and just all men in general is what does it mean to be a man, you know? So, yeah.
Putting the future of mankind on our shoulders here, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure. It's all actually my decision. Nobody else has any say in it. If you have gonads, you must default to this manual, this one right here.
Must submit to authority, huh?
Yeah. Part of being a man, though, huh?
That's
actually a big thing. What it means to be a man is that you have to be man enough to know when to be the authority, but more importantly, I think it means that you have to answer to a higher power. You know, some kind of higher power. You know, as a man, you know, secularly, I think that everybody has to submit themselves to a higher power. And I've even heard of some other organizations that say the same. You know, it's not an official stance, but I know the Freemasons, for example, definitely it's not frowned upon, you know, to be, you know, non-religious or something like that. But it's definitely a plus if you do have some kind of higher power that you submit yourself to. And that's huge, you know. And I think that's, you know, whether it be government or, you know, God, or you answer to, you know, just something above you.
Yeah. Though I think honestly that's particularly dangerous today, especially in this secular context. So many people want to submit themselves to the government or to whatever the highest power in their life is, and they don't look at the long-term moral and ethical consequences that'll have for them.
Yeah,
going
for
down the
sure.
line.
For sure. You definitely have to choose where you're going to place your bets, for sure. Yeah.
I think that's why we have such huge problems with simp culture these days. People weren't sure, what they should submit to, and so they decided to submit to that ass.
Submit to woman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely not healthy for any man in today's context, for sure. So me, I'm always going to place my vote with God first, then country. God, family, then country, and that is always in the order of what I will submit myself to.
Yeah.
And it's all about priorities too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
man, do you want to talk about modern manhood today and chivalry? Country's a good place to look. I think that's something that's really been lost, kind of lost to time ever since the end of the Second World War. We don't really have that same sense of country, that unifying factor.
absolutely.
Chipped away at.
I know people who, absolutely hate, America and the country that we live in. I know people that are all about it. But I think the one unifying thing today is that everybody agrees that our government kind of sucks. But it's getting to a point where people are, starting to associate the government and America as one and the same. And we kind of lose that sense of nationality. And that's definitely detrimental to, it's kind of a give and take. One feeds the other, manhood and a sense of nationality. I don't think we can have a really strong sense of manhood without a strong sense of loving, God and country being a really big part of that. You can, but I think that's part of manhood is acknowledging that you really not can't, but you definitely shouldn't stand alone. I think that every man needs other men to keep us in check and to keep that value of pushing each other. And you definitely can't have that without a strong sense of nationality.
And yet that gets harder and harder to find too, doesn't it? It's amazing the low quality and caliber of the men that you find yourself surrounded with.
Yeah. So that's something we kind of covered in a small group that I was meeting with today. It was in a different context, but it was all about being intentional with your relationships and things like that. And I think you have to be really intentional with the people that you surround yourself and kind of refill yourself with, refuel around. And you have to be intentional about finding people to keep you in check and to push you further and further towards, the person that you want to be, whether you're a woman or a man, the woman you want to be, the man you want to be. You definitely have to find people that are willing to do that, and you have to be intentional about telling people what kind of person you want to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Let's give me some of your other musings here. What do you think?
Go on.
Well, what do you think the modern code for chivalry should be? Because I already kind of have an answer for that. It's something that I've been thinking about and working on for a while. So I'd like to hear your take.
Okay. You know what? I'll go one further. So I think I'll blaze past it and ask another question to you that comes down to that code. I think you should always open doors for people, and always open the door for women, especially significant women in your life. Your mother, your grandmother, your sister, and anybody that you intend on pursuing with a romantic intent. In a relationship, and even women that you just see by themselves in public if they don't have a man with them, open the door for them. Yeah, I think that's part of it. Um, you know, I think it comes down to a little bit of a leadership thing too, because men are kind of natural born leaders, or they should be. One of those things being, make sure you don't sit down, before women. I gotta stop saying make sure you don't sit down before women and let other people take their seat first, and never be the first one to, take a bite of the food at a table. Those are all good concrete rules. I think those kind of apply everywhere and are not necessarily inherently chivalrous. But one of them is also never raise your hand to a woman unless it's the kind of circumstance where it's a life-threatening situation, So, so that brings me to my next question: is it okay to hit a woman back?
Depends on the woman.
It depends on the woman. Yeah, I think we'll acknowledge that not every woman is Ronda Rousey walking around there. But if Ronda Rousey wants to start kicking my ass, I'm definitely going to swing back,
Sometimes people just need to get their ass beat. Like, let's be real about it. There are too many people that have been raised in cushy, coddled lives and used to, doing whatever they want and getting whatever they want. And, tell you what, you put your hands on me, all bets are off. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, you got enough weight throwing around, and I might have to just knock you back a couple of feet.
And some of those land whales got a lot of fucking weight on them.
Yep, for sure. Yep. So here's my next question, if you want to move on. So what skills should everyone know, and what skills should every man know?
Everyone and then every man?
You just play with it. You don't have to answer it in any particular order.
Okay. We talking hard skills, soft skills, or a mix of the two? Because we could
mix of the two. Go for it.
Yeah. So let's see the basic ones. How to fend for yourself. That means, protect yourself, make your own meals, do your own laundry.
Start a fire.
The basic like how to be an adult, and also how, like you said, how to start a fire, how to fight, how to protect yourself. Yeah, exactly. How to protect yourself in a shitty situation. And then some of the kind of more specific ones, how to do all the basic maintenance and upkeep for your vehicle. Just swap your tire, change the oil, check your fluids, change a battery, jump a car, that sort of thing.
Yep, swap your windshield wipers.
I think
troubleshoot is definitely one of the big ones that people miss with vehicle maintenance, especially with the internet. You can
all things are possible.
Jiminy Christmas, learn how to read through a forum and know how to read a map. Everyone needs to know how to read a freaking map. And you should look at a map. You shouldn't just know how to read a map. Look at Google Maps and know the lay of the land around your home.
Yeah, at least the general area that you're in.
I know which way north is. Please. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And always know that.
Thinking for yourself and, being able to troubleshoot, shoot, and problem solve. Learn a little bit of computer skills. Like, the world's only going to get more dependent on computers and smartphones and shit. And if you can't even open your own email, you're in for a world of hurt.
Or at least learn some Google Foo, know? Yeah.
It's not that hard, kids, I promise.
It's not rocket science. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hard skills, though, a lot of it comes down to vehicle maintenance and things like that.
Just being an independent and responsible adult human.
I think basic woodworking skills should totally be necessary.
Yeah. Well, even to broaden that, even just DIY, home repairs and stuff like that, be able to paint and fix nail pops and stuff like that.
Yep. Don't bite off more than you can chew, though. We've established this. Nobody don't give drywall a try. Don't give drywall.
Please don't. Learn from the mistakes of the past.
Yeah, learn from the mistakes of your fathers.
Yeah.
What other
let's see.
kind of hard skills, soft skills? Soft skills, communication, man. Know when
Communication's
to,
key.
waiting your turn in a conversation and being patient enough to know that what you need is important enough to stand and wait.
Yeah.
That was something I learned in scouting. One of the biggest soft skills was learning to wait your turn to ask somebody a question. Was you just had to stand there patiently. Don't look like you're so eager that you're just waiting for table scraps like a puppy, because then you're just going to piss somebody off. But you do have to be, stand there in a manner that aspires confidence and respect, and then wait until you're addressed. And the moment you get your chance to be addressed, you get your shit taken care of. And then if you don't get addressed, also learn when it's appropriate to interject. If your stuff is important enough. That was one of the things one of my scoutmasters did intentionally a lot of the times was he would just keep talking. He knows you're standing there, and he would just keep talking and wait until, and it was a teaching exercise for him. He would just keep talking, fishing, his trip to the grocery store, whatever he could talk about with another adult, and the kid needs something, and we have to bug the scoutmaster to get a sign off or something like that on our book. But this is the soft skill that he's trying to teach you is, have the gumpture to interject, but do it in a way that you're going to get what you want. Tact is huge.
Man, that's something that you don't see a whole lot these days. People with some tact and decency.
Yeah,
good lord,
for sure.
Let's see, other soft skills. Leadership, definitely. Even if it's just some basic stuff. Like, I can't tell you the amount of teeth I had to pull to get group projects done in school because nobody wanted to step up and, take responsibility and be the one in charge.
Yeah, it's okay to tell people what to do. If nobody else is doing it, then you have to.
And it's like, I get it. It's a whole lot easier to be a follower than a leader. Yeah. Some days you just got to step up and do it.
And you don't want to, be the asshole of a group, but at the same time, like, don't lose any sleep. Somebody's going to think, just go to bed knowing that somebody thinks you're an asshole no matter what you do. So just go ahead and do it. You're already there. Forget about it. Oh. All right. So those are some pretty good soft skills. Hard skills, how to start a fire. Yeah. How to start a fire and cook. Like how to cook meat. No, I don't think a lot of people know how to safely cook meat. You there?
Minor technical difficulties there.
Yep. Where'd I lose you?
I don't even know.
I think everybody needs to know how to start a fire and definitely how to cook meat safely.
Yeah.
Those are some pretty good hard skills. Cook meat safely. Even if you're a vegetarian, know how to cook some chicken, please. Just learn it.
Just enough to not injure yourself or whoever you're cooking for.
Right. Exactly.
Oh,
yeah. And eggs. Know how to cook eggs.
Yeah. How do people because you see it consistently? People that can't cook eggs properly, and they get them stuck to the bottom of the pan and burn them. Eggs are one of the easiest things to learn to cook, and they're damn cheap. So even if you screw it up, it doesn't matter. Go out, buy a couple dozen eggs, learn to cook them. That's the takeaway from this podcast for all of our younger listeners. Cook eggs.
Cook eggs and learn how to cook chicken next. Both of them are poultry at one point or another.
Does the chicken, delicious.
Hey, does the chicken come first or did the egg come first?
Chicken.
The chicken came first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Something had to lay the eggs.
Yep. Yep. Something had to raise the little baby chickens too. right, I'm about to get this fly. There's been a fly buzzing around, and he landed on my thumb, so I'm just gonna quickly.
I'll send you a package of one of those little salt shotguns for you.
Oh, I didn't get them. They're so
clean
fast.
That station right up.
I saw a video of somebody point blanked a fly with one of those.
Yeah.
All right.
Tips everywhere.
So, are there any good programs left that will teach young boys how to grow into a good man?
No.
And what kind of programs would they be? What were they when we were upcoming? Like, okay, I'll take a step back. What do you attribute to your manhood? How did you learn how to be a man?
My parents.
Yeah. And beyond that, though, do you think band helped at all?
No. If anything, I had a couple of good male role models besides my father growing up, one of whom was my band teacher. Another was a kind of a community figure at the local church. Another was a fifth grade gen eds teacher. So, I had some good male role models, and I did, do some scouts and stuff like that. But honestly, scouts was already going downhill while I was in the program. That's why I left.
Yeah, to me, it was harder to find male role models. And I think that's part of being a man as well. Is
being a role model for younger men.
Being a role model for younger men, absolutely. And I think that's lost on people for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody's caught up in just caring about their own thing that they don't want to give back and impact the future. The future for sure.
That's something I've been thinking about a lot recently because I've been really fortunate in that regard, and I want to try and pay it forward. But
yeah, I drove past the local scouting office recently, and I think I'm gonna try and get involved with that. Hopefully, nobody finds this podcast though, because I'm gonna swear like a sailor.
Instant ban.
Instant ban. So, yeah, I'd like to get involved in it if it's not all gone to total shit. I totally disagree with the way that things have gone recently with the big decisions they've made, letting girls into Boy Scouts. That doesn't make any sense to me, especially at that young age.
That age, yeah, it's going to be a complete shit show.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you're also you're involving young girls in an organization that is not predominantly male run, but all man run. And it's going to take some time for that organization to become, both gender integrated, where there are, older women leading as well. So, fuck, I'm not sending my daughter off to a Boy Scout camp with a bunch of 40-year-old men,
Nah.
Hell no. Not even if there are a bunch of 12-year-old boys, running around. That is a recipe for disaster.
And to be honest, if they had gone with like a generic Scouts program and built something new from the ground up based on the Boy Scouts, it wouldn't have been an issue.
No, absolutely not. And there are also
transition this existing institution.
There's other ones that exist that are like that too. There's a venture scouting program that's co-ed. And it just doesn't get enough publicity. And that's the hard thing is, man, blow the whistle on the good things once in a while instead of just trying to change what's there,
Yeah, they don't have the same scope and reach as the BSA. That's why they got.
That's for sure. That nothing has the impact and reputation of putting Eagle Scout on your resume. Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah. So band didn't help much at all.
No, I mean there was some camaraderie with like other younger guys there and stuff like that.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I don't know. I don't think it was super formative in the same way. Yeah. It was. There's too much. There's too much politicking and stuff like that in band. Too much social stuff and drama for it to really be a good outlet for that. If I'm being honest. Now, to be fair, some subcategories of it, like drumline, they definitely had their own kind of type of masculinity, and so that I could see an argument being made for that as a formative experience. But I wasn't, that big part of the drumline. So
junior ROTC was another one. I think that one probably is still a good one to go for, because that's a hard sect of men to change even with bad things, happening in legal systems, as you always have teachers and creepy old guys some places, but just because one of them screws up does not mean that all of them are going to take the fall for it, because guys that have a military background will be damned if they let one guy screw it up for the rest of them, especially retired military guys in that civilian context. I think that'll be one of the last things to fall. For sure. Yeah. And it is co-ed already, so what more can you do?
Yeah.
The only thing that you have to do is just make sure that nobody's doing anything illegal at that point.
That said, I think it is important for guys to have, a uniquely male space. That was something my father and I were talking about possibly doing a little bit later when he's retired, is starting some sort of, like not quite a summer camp, but, some sort of organization for young men that teaches outdoor skills and also some practical stuff like mechanics and cooking and, that sort of thing.
Yeah, dude, it would be really cool to see like the Freemason Society or something like that, because that's an all male organization. And they're like right now they're a secret society, but publicly known, and they do a lot of really good things for charity work and stuff like that. It would be really cool to see them, because they have the resources to stand something like that up. Like it would be cool to see like the young Masons. That'd be cool. Yeah, that would be really, really cool. My grandfather was a Freemason, so that rings true for me. And one of my closest friends is in the Freemason Society now, and it seems to be doing good things for him. And there's no lack of mentorship there for sure.
Yeah. And one of the things that does make it better is, as much as I rail against social media, and that'll have to be a topic for another night, that is one of the few things that social media has been really useful for, is standing up, new grassroots organizations and getting, different local chapters in touch with each other so that you can coordinate things on a wider scale and, have some consistency and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. But never be afraid to go door to door or put up posters or anything too, because there will always be those people that are harder to reach, even on social media. It's not a perfect platform.
Well, and some people like me just don't exist on social media.
Yeah, same goes for me. I'm getting off it very, very soon. Yeah.
And that's another one, man. You want to talk about a good way to be a man? Put down the fucking social media.
Yeah, put down the phone. Put down the phone and pay attention to your girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or your wife.
Just
refocus on the family. Yeah. Like, dude, pull your head out of the technology. Look around. Get to know your neighbors. That's huge.
And more importantly, I'm going to be honest, nobody cares what you have to say. Nobody reads your tweets. Nobody listens to your Facebook Live messages that you posted at 3 a.m. while drunk or high off your ass. Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares how bad you want to build the wall while you're taking a shit.
Yeah.
But I think that's a huge one. That's another one of those soft skills. Introduce yourself to people. Jiminy Christmas. Just do it.
Yeah.
Don't stand there awkwardly and wait for somebody to do it for you. Introduce yourself.
I got to say, that's one of the things that COVID really made strange is introductions. It's not just a walk up and a smile and a handshake anymore. People are still so...
hey, go for the fist bump. Fist bump's working for me.
Yeah.
But it seems to be that a lot of people are more willing to shake hands now, too. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
Especially me moving now. I'm meeting... Everybody I meet is a new person.
Yeah.
And so, quite a few people are willing to shake hands now. Especially with the vaccine coming out. People are getting...
It'd be nice to see some sort of return to normalcy.
Yeah, for sure. So any good programs left that will teach young boys how to grow into a good man? It's on the decline. That's for sure. It is definitely on the decline. We need something. Maybe we'll start our own, right?
There you go. Someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah, somebody. That's another thing. That's part of being a man. Nobody else is dang doing it. You do it.
Yep. So, listeners, you'll have to hold us to that in a couple of years.
Yep.
Send
But you know,
angry emails. Send them to Sam though. Don't send them to me.
You know, well, that's part of the title here is we're always moving forwards, or less. So. I mean, we'll leave ourselves a little wiggle room.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the problem is with the modern man?
Oh, good Lord. You want that list alphabetically or chronologically? I mean, you have some of the lowest.
Are there enough letters?
Exactly. I mean, look at it all. You have escapism through porn and video games. You have the degeneration of masculine gender roles. You have the inability to find work or fulfilling, hobbies or passions. You have a decline in a lot of the other institutions, like we said, that help make traditional men, be it the military or Boy Scouts or even, like powerlifting, gym culture type of things. A decline in those traditional masculine activities, traditional male role models, that sort of thing. I think it's all just contributing.
Yeah. So what does it mean to be a modern man? Or no. That was the question. Sorry, I got the question wrong. What is the problem with the modern man? Yeah, I think pornography and video games and escapism. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's escapism.
And I'll do you one better. It's weakness.
Hugely. Yeah, but I think porn and video games and things like that only feed that fire hugely, and it's kind of a never-ending cycle.
Yep.
You need somebody to tell you, hey, and anybody listening that's still watching porn, and if you're not trying to quit, you should be trying to quit. Hands down. That's another podcast for another day. But stop porn. Play less.
I will say this though:
learn hard skills. Find other passion. Find passions in the physical world that you can dump your time into. Learn. Work on a bike. Learn how to paint. Write something. Read.
I don't think that escapism and pornography and all that, I don't think that they are the cause of the problem. I think they are symptoms of the problem. I think the root cause of the problem goes a layer deeper.
I think they're both the cause and a symptom at the same time. I think it definitely goes hand in hand, and one does feed the other. But I have pretty strong opinions about that. Yeah.
This is true.
Absolutely.
This is true.
So, go on. So what do you think the root cause is then?
I mean, at its core, if I had to boil it down, I think that the root cause is genuinely a lack of drive and motivation, and it's been, like I said, it's been brought on by a whole lot of things, right? There are a whole lot of different symptoms for it, but I think that the average man just has no goals, so it's described in psychology by Jung as the hero's journey, right? So the man has nothing to search for, no dragons to slay, no princesses to rescue, right? He has no goal. And it just kind of leaves you aimless and wandering.
Yeah, that's a big. I like the way you put that. No dragons to slay. Men used to conquer countries when they were bored.
Yep.
And now what do? We look up the nearest burger joint or go get some ice cream and play some video games and watch Netflix.
Yep.
Yeah. Kind of pathetic. If you were bored, you'd go progress your nation, and now it's definitely not that.
Yeah. So led to a peaceful society for the past few hundred years. Well, more peaceful than it has been in recorded
peaceful
history,
in one way, not the other. Suicide rates are rising.
Yeah. So, and yet again, I think
violence.
Yeah. I think it's another, like I said, a symptom of the same cause, right? When you have no goal, you have nothing to work for. Life can feel meaningless, and so what's the point of living, right?
Yeah, finding purpose. Finding purpose is a huge, huge thing. Yeah, have a goal, have a vision of who you want to be, and have hard goals of what you want that person to be doing.
Mm-hmm. And set goals for yourself. They don't have to be something big, right? But you got to start somewhere. Start small.
Yeah, and don't wait for New Year's. Don't wait for New Year's.
Never. Never
Yeah.
make resolutions. You'll never keep them.
The best way to start something is commit to a habit and start now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Because you can always find some excuse and some reason to put it off in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you can't if you do it right.
We easily could have done that with this podcast, but here we are.
Yeah.
Only 2 weeks out for me moving.
Yeah.
And we have made the point to at least speak once a week for about this amount of time until we stood it up. And now we're doing it.
And it'll still be a duct tape production for quite a bit longer.
Yep. And there's the or less,
Yeah.
So that's okay though. Your goals, like you said, your goals don't have to be perfect. You don't have to conquer the whole continent in a day, but one mountain.
You just have to start.
One mountain at a time. Yeah. If your goal is to read an entire book, read 5 pages your first day. Read the first chapter. And then the next day, you might not even read a whole nother chapter, but at least, set a page quota for yourself or something like that. Yeah.
And it's like, you don't have to meet that page quota even, but as long as you opened the book, right, and you started reading, you're making progress.
Yeah. Aim for the moon and you'll land among the stars, right?
Yep. Because that's the most important part about setting goals. It's not that you hit them every time. It's not that you meet them. And that's something that I personally still struggle with, right? But it's just getting up and making progress towards that goal.
Yeah. My best friend growing up, his grandfather, as little as I saw him, had a couple of profound impacts on me. And one of the things that he's told me that will always stick with me is do one thing productive every day. One thing, even if it's I made my bed today, something as small and insignificant as that. You will never have a negative day in the sense of, positive and negative and going forward and going backwards.
Yeah. Good words to live by. And I think that's a good place to end the podcast. So if you want to take us out here.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks everybody for listening to the podcast. I think we're pretty close to 45 minutes here. 36 minutes it looks like. So yeah, good first podcast length. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And if you didn't, maybe I don't care. Maybe I do.
I don't. Fuck you.
Yeah. So I think that sets a good tone for us. We're the kind of guys that are always moving forwards, or some days maybe it's a little less. So yeah. All right. You guys tune in next week. We'll try to make this a weekly thing for now. This length or longer, somewhere between here and an hour for most conversations. So, and it'll just be us talking. Hopefully we'll have some kind of topic most weeks. But if we don't, that's all right. We usually end up coming up with something. So hope it was entertaining, and y'all have an awesome day.
See you, everyone.
Thanks for listening to that first episode of Forwards or Less podcast. If you enjoyed this content, consider subscribing and leave us a like. Comment down below to let us know how we did, and tune in next week on Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next episode.